The conversation is no longer a whisper. It's a strategic question being asked in the highest levels of the Toronto Blue Jays front office, a direct and unavoidable consequence of the biggest move this organization made all winter. With the ink barely dry on Dylan Cease's massive 7-year contract, the future of the man who was the undisputed ace for the last 4 seasons, Kevin Gausman, is now the single most volatile topic surrounding this ball club. The premise, floated by fan-sided and now echoing through the league, is as brutal as it is logical. With the team currently underperforming after a World Series run in 2025, and with Cease locked in as the long-term anchor, does it make sense to part ways with a 35-year-old Kevin Gausman on an expiring contract? Let's be clear about the catalyst here. This isn't about a decline in Gausman's performance. This is about the seismic shift caused by the Cease acquisition. The front office didn't just sign an arm, they bought a philosophy. 7 years of control for a pitcher in his prime. Through 6 starts, Cease has been everything advertised and more. A 2.87 ERA is stellar, but it's the 14.1 strikeouts per 9 innings that tells the real story. That is pure, unadulterated dominance. That is an ace you build a championship window around. When you commit that kind of term and dollar amount, every other piece on the board is re-evaluated, and the most valuable, most movable piece is suddenly Kevin Gausman. To understand the front office's perspective, you have to look past the box score and open up the spreadsheet. Gausman is in the final season of his 5-year, $110 million contract. That's a $22 million average annual value, every dollar of which comes off the books after the 2026 season. For a front office navigating the treacherous waters of the competitive balance tax, CBT, that is a massive number. With Cease's new deal likely carrying an AAV north of $28 million plus the existing commitments to players like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette, the payroll is tightening. If this team continues to hover around 500 into June and July, the pressure from ownership to not only avoid the highest tiers of the luxury tax, but to reallocate assets becomes immense. Trading Gausman before the deadline wouldn't just be about the prospect return, it would be a proactive financial reset. It would clear over $7 million in remaining salary for 2026, giving Ross Atkins and his team the flexibility to absorb a contract at the deadline, or more likely, bank that space for future extensions. It's the cold, hard math of running a contender in the modern MLB. Now, let's talk about the asset himself. What makes this conversation so compelling is that Kevin Gausman is still dealing. The idea of trading him only works because his value remains incredibly high. A 2.57 ERA and 38 strikeouts in 35 innings is not the stat line of a pitcher on his last legs. It's the stat line of a co-ace. His fastball velocity may have ticked down slightly, as expected for a pitcher his age, but the effectiveness of his arsenal hasn't. His splitter remains one of the most devastating single pitches in all of baseball. His fielding independent pitching, or FIP, likely sits right in line with his ERA, confirming that his success is legitimate and not the product of good luck or stellar defense. He's a workhorse who provides quality starts and manages a lineup with veteran savvy. That profile, a rental ace with a proven track record of AL East success, is the holy grail for a contending team at the trade deadline. Think about a team in the thick of a pennant race that just lost their number 2 starter to an elbow injury. The phone call to Toronto is immediate. The Blue Jays would be in a position of immense leverage. So what does a potential return look like? You aren't getting a consensus top 10 prospect in baseball for a 3-month rental. But can you get a package that accelerates your next competitive cycle? Absolutely. The demand would be for a team's number 2 or number 3 overall prospect, likely a position player on the cusp of the majors, and a high-ceiling arm currently pitching at the AA level for the New Hampshire Fisher Cats. The Blue Jays farm system, while having produced studs, needs another wave of talent. A Gausman trade would be a direct injection of high-end capital. You're looking for a player who can potentially help the big league club by mid-2027, not a lottery ticket in rookie ball. This move would be about shortening the gap between this window and the next, ensuring the talent pipeline from the Buffalo Bisons remains stocked and ready. It's a classic retooling move, sacrificing the present for a stronger, more sustainable future. But there's a side to this that doesn't show up on Fangraphs or Cott's baseball contracts: the clubhouse. What message does trading Kevin Gausman send to a locker room led by John Schneider, a room that still believes it can win? You're telling Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Bo Bichette, and the newly signed Dylan Cease that the front office is hedging its bets on the 2026 season. Gausman is more than an ERA. He's a leader of the pitching staff, a respected veteran presence. Pulling him out of that rotation in July even if the team is struggling, could be a catastrophic blow to morale. It could be perceived as a white flag, a signal that management is punting on a season that started with championship aspirations. The risk of fracturing the clubhouse chemistry and creating a rift between the players and the front office is very, very real. Is a team's number 3 prospect worth poisoning the well for the guys who are still under contract for 2027 and beyond? That's the billion-dollar question. Ultimately, this is the brutal reality of the position the Blue Jays find themselves in on May 1st, 2026. They are a team built to win now, but they are not winning enough. They have a new long-term ace in Dylan Cease, which makes their old, expiring ace both incredibly valuable and potentially expendable. The path forward has 2 starkly different routes. Route 1, the team gets healthy, goes on a tear, and Gausman and Cease form a dominant 1-2 punch that carries them through October. Route 2, the struggles continue, the hole in the AL East deepens, and Gausman becomes the most valuable trade chip on the market, his departure marking a painful but necessary pivot towards the next era of Blue Jays baseball. The front office has to weigh the tangible value of a prospect package against the intangible value of a veteran leader in a pennant race. It's a decision that will define the rest of this season and potentially the next 5 years. What do you think the Blue Jays should do? Is trading Gausman a smart, forward-thinking move if the team is out of it by the deadline? Or is it a panic move that disrespects a clubhouse leader and signals defeat too early? Let me know your take down in the comments. If you appreciate this kind of in-depth analysis that goes beyond the headlines, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. We're tracking every move, every rumor, and every possibility as the Blue Jays navigate this critical season.